In today's video, we will be going over a match that's so hectic, so intense, that the world is not ready to see these two titans go head to head. On one side of the board, we've got the new kid on the block, someone who's been taking the world by storm. We've got ChatGPT. And on the other side, we've got the most feared chess.com bot of all time. A fan favorite in the chess community. We've got Nelson, the Destroyer. Today, we will once and for all see who is the strongest chess player. So stick around, because the results of this match is not what you would have expected it to be. The game kicks off with the normal king pawns opening. ChatGPT develops his knight, and if there's one thing you need to know about Nelson, is that Nelson loves his queen. And as you can see, for 3 consecutive moves, Nelson moved his queen from f6 to h6 and again to d6. In this time, ChatGPT develops his light square bishop, opens up his dark square bishop and castles before Nelson develops his knight. I don't know why this guy likes his queen so much. Now for the moment, ChatGPT just continues to develop. Nelson pushes his b pawn to open up his bishop and maybe even fianchetto it a little bit later. ChatGPT pushes his a pawn, completely stopping this bishop ever being able to go to b4. Up until this point, the position looks pretty much equal. Both players are playing a really solid match in both attacking and defending, developing the pieces quite nicely. And I would say that ChatGPT has the lead. With how much he has developed compared to Nelson, it might look like he's the favorite. But somewhere, something went completely wrong. I think maybe ChatGPT's code got scrambled somewhere, but the moment Nelson went on the attack and moved his knight to d4, ChatGPT started shaking in his boots. His first move was queen to d2. Nelson took ChatGPT's knight, forced his king open and doubled up his pawns. All with just one move. Nelson brought out his dark square bishop to e7. ChatGPT went queen to e3, trying to cover more squares with his queen. And Nelson went for the first check of the game, forcing GPT's king in the corner of the board. Now Nelson follows up with a strange pawn move. I think it was to get this pawn to d4, completely blocking off this bishop. But ChatGPT follows up immediately with an attack on the queen by going rook g1, forcing Nelson to keep his queen safe by going f6. Now at this point, I think ChatGPT just completely forgot he was playing chess, or forgot how to play chess. He chooses to go knight d5, completely giving away his knight and putting his bishop in the line of fire. Now I don't know if ChatGPT is just computing on a level us mere mortals aren't able to even comprehend. But instead of moving his bishop to safety, he just pushes his d-pawn, completely giving up his light square bishop. At this point, Nelson's got the game secure. He's playing perfectly. Nobody's able to stop him at this point. So after ChatGPT pushes his queen to e2, he just keeps on taking and gathers a d-pawn. At this point, Nelson is 6 points clear and has major advantages in this game. ChatGPT is playing like a complete idiot. He's not even a match for Nelson. ChatGPT finally sees the threat coming from the center pawns and pushes his rook to d1, and Nelson follows up with his bishop going to a6. Now out of hundreds of moves, like maybe pushing this f pawn to get more center control, or trying to break up this pawn structure by going b4, ChatGPT finds the one move that you should not be making. Can you guess what it is? He's already sacked a knight, a light square bishop, and on move 16, he sacks his dark square bishop too. ChatGPT has 0 Fs to give. ChatGPT is playing chess that we are not even able to imagine. Nelson just gobbles up the bishop. He doesn't care about the 5D chess ChatGPT is trying to play. He's in it to win it. And up until this point, he has been playing a pretty perfect game. ChatGPT plays the f4 pawn. I don't know why Nelson didn't just take the pawn. A lot of times he just gives up possession just to make sure his queen is extra safe. So after he slid his queen back to f6, ChatGPT pushes his e5 pawn and leaves his f4 pawn completely open for attack. ChatGPT takes the d4 pawn, completely hanging his rook for Nelson to take. Now I think ChatGPT realized something in this moment and saw that he needs to get rid of this queen. So he pushes his rook to d1, putting some pressure on Nelson's queen. Now, I don't know what happened. I don't know if chess.com's service was buggy. Nelson just overlooked something. But somehow, some way, Nelson did not see that his queen was going to get taken, and instead of moving his queen to safety, he moved h5. And in the blink of an eye, ChatGPT was back in the game, somehow a queen up. Nelson was trying to get back by moving his queen to c8, but ChatGPT was on the offensive, moving his pawn to f4, and after Nelson went c5, pushing his queen to e4, having complete control of the center of the board. Now even though Nelson is up on points, he's got 2 rooks, 2 bishops, and a knight, compared to ChatGPT, who's only got a queen and a rook. Nelson can't play without a queen. Nelson needs his queen more than humans need water. It's like oxygen to him. He just can't function without it. He needs it. Nelson tries to make something happen by pushing his pawn to c3, and after a trade, ChatGPT launches an attack by going queen a8, checking the king. Now Nelson's plan right now is to get as much of the pieces active as fast as possible and as quickly as possible get his king to safety. So the best move he could have played right here is to move his knight to h6 and give up the a pawn. And that's exactly what he did. I don't know why Nelson wanted to castle that fast. So at this point, he's just giving pieces up. Because after he castled, he completely left his bishop hanging, and after moving his knight to f5, he just gave up another pawn. At this moment, one mistake of either of these two players will mean the match. So Nelson pushes his h-pawn, and ChatGPT immediately intercepts and blocks him. Nelson moves his rook to the e file, which was a complete mistake, because at this point, ChatGPT can just move his queen to a8, and Nelson would have completely lost this bishop. Luckily for him, ChatGPT goes queen b5, and Nelson just takes the pawn on a3. And over here, ChatGPT makes the biggest mistake of the game. He trades the bishop for the rook, the only other piece the queen has to help it. Now, oblivious to ChatGPT, he doesn't know it yet, but Nelson is moving in for the kill, because after ChatGPT takes the b6 pawn, Nelson checks him. If he doesn't play the right move and sacrifice his queen, it's checkmate. ChatGPT goes king g1, and Nelson goes in for the kill by going rook a1. There's only one move left for ChatGPT, and that is to block with the queen, and it's checkmate. So as you guys can see, ChatGPT was no match for Nelson. Nelson is still considered the most ruthless, most feared bot on chess.com. If you guys would like a video like this again with ChatGPT going up against other chess.com bots or some other platforms bot, comment on the video which bot you would like to see ChatGPT go up against next. Leave a like and sub to my channel, guys. Bye.